In this video, we're going to learn about the management of solid waste in Nova Scotia. Among the different provinces, Nova Scotia has the lowest kilogram waste undiverted per capita of around 380 units. This number is highly comparable to Japan's kilogram per capita, which stands at lowest in the whole world. So Nova Scotia must be doing something right, eh? Let's take an in-depth view into how this is made possible. Here mentioned are the main objectives of the province corresponding to waste diversion.
Nova Scotia has set two main objectives corresponding to waste diversion. The province first wants to maintain 50% waste diversion, and it also wants its waste disposal to target 300 kilograms per person. These two objectives will be met by achieving several other goals prior. The first objective to be will be to successfully create programs and practices relating to waste diversion and reduction. The second objective will be to increase the participation of all residential, industrial, commercial, and institutional areas corresponding to waste prevention and diversion. The third objective will be to give incentive and punishment corresponding to waste being kept out of landfills. The fourth objective will be to make Nova Scotia the leader in waste reduction, specifically corresponding to governmental work. The fifth objective will be to create economic opportunities in Nova Scotia by the use of research and development in waste prevention and diversion. The sixth and last objective will be to specifically divert the amount of construction and debris waste sent to landfills. If all six of these goals are accomplished, they will be able to establish a 50% waste diversion and a 300 kilogram per person.
These objectives need constant monitoring and upkeep to keep it running and maintained. Therefore, the province has distinct regulatory bodies separated geographically, thus ensuring smooth running of all operations.
In 1994, the Nova Scotia government decided that it was not practical to have all 55 municipalities develop waste management programs. Instead, they divided the municipalities into 7 regions and provided them with options to meet the goal of 55% waste diversion. The 7 regions consist of Cape Breton, Eastern Shore, Northern Shore, the HRM, Annapolis Valley, South Shore, and Yarmouth. On April 1, 2008, Region 5 started the Clear Bag program. The program forced residents to properly sort their waste by garbage, recyclables, and organics. Only garbage were permitted in the clear bags. These consist of things like chips and candy wrappers, aerosol cans, light bulbs, diapers and sanitary napkins, toothpaste tubes, and much more.
A question may arise at this point. What does Nova Scotia do different from other provinces to give its #1 title?
When compared to other provinces, Nova Scotia's approach to waste diversion starts right at the source of the waste itself. All possible sources of the waste, whether they were residential, commercial, or industrial, are responsible for initiating the waste diverting process by separating their waste into different categories, only some of which can be deposited curbside, then picked up and transported by the municipality to one of 9 recycling facilities in the province. Throughout regulations and funding, the provincial government was able to implement a system that relies on such individual responsibility in order to achieve the mandates given under the Environment Act of 1995. Since then, the Resource Recovery Funding Board of Nova Scotia has been a key asset to the effectiveness of municipal, private sector, and citizen efforts to increase waste diversion. The RRFB has directed 50% of its revenues to waste management regions according to their diversion rates. Disposal bans are also put in place and play a huge role in the success of waste diversion. Banning the disposal of specific materials means less waste would eventually reach the landfills. However, not all banned materials fall under the curbside collection system. Beverage containers, electronics, some industrial and automotive waste are all examples of materials handled by a network of over 80 Enviro depots located within the province.
Over 30 of the 55 municipalities require garbage to be placed in clear bags rather than the traditional black bags, in hopes of encouraging compliance. Studies from 8 of these provinces have shown drastic spikes in composting and recycling rates, and hence drops in the amounts of waste ending up in landfills. Beverage container return rates have also experienced significant increases. The introduction of clear bags has definitely been a simple yet effective design change. Ever wonder how much might these operations cost to operate?
In order to offset opening, operational, and closing costs, landfills usually charge tipping fees, also known as gate fees, upon reception of waste at their processing plant. Tipping fees may be charged per load, per ton, or by volume. These fees do not account for collection of the waste and only apply to waste that is being offloaded at the landfill. Tipping fees vary wildly depending on location of the landfill as well as the type of waste being dropped off. 3 of the most common categories of waste are organics, general garbage, and construction debris. Organics are usually charged the lowest tipping fees, and construction debris the highest. Tipping fees at landfills in 5 provinces across Canada, namely Nova Scotia, Ontario, Manitoba, Alberta, and British Columbia, were sourced and generalized. Ontario and British Columbia charge the highest numbers for tipping fees, with Manitoba and Alberta charging the least. Fees in general are surprisingly consistent across the country, and in many cases there is more variance between landfills close to each other than between landfills in separate provinces. This is likely due to the fact that some landfills are specially suited or more able to handle specific types of waste, thereby charging less for that category and perhaps more for others.
To summarize, in 1995, Nova Scotia began a new approach to waste management. Waste was no longer a nuisance, but a potential resource that required new management approaches. This is how they became an innovative world leader in recycling and waste diversion. Many recycling programs, in addition to the compostable organic program, have been the driving force of the province's diversion strategies. The 6-goal approach adopted provided clear direction on how Nova Scotia will adopt their approach to solid waste management to keep pace with change.